CJ, the painkiller.
Kevin Jackson.
So we need to start acting like a big boy football. It's time for the jet tax to die.
You're listening to Weapons Hot on Sports War Radio and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
There's one into the end zone. It is caught. That's a Jet touchdown.
And now here is your host, CJ, the Painkiller, D. Simone, and Kevin Jackson.
What's going on, Jets Nation? Welcome to another edition of Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, Snowman, and Digital Media, and quite frankly, any place where you can get your New York Jets fix. I am your host, CJ the Painkiller D. Simone, and it is now time to introduce you to the rest of my squadron. So let's get our boys queued up here.
Now, here's a little story.
Ladies and gentlemen, leading it off, put your hands together for Mr. Kevin Jackson.
Right across the land, kicking up sand.
Brandon, feels like Joe.
Look! I'm telling you right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Weapons Hot. We ready to get it in, man. We're really getting close to some actual, factual stuff, right? I mean, no more, hypotheticals, no more, conspiracy theories, no more none of the nonsense. We're about to really start getting into some actual factual stuff, some actual factual numbers, some real live, trades, some real live signings. Guys, silly season or the end of silly season is upon us. We've got a couple of news, got a few news tidbits to discuss with some releases and some possibilities right now. One really, I think, interesting quarterback change on the landscape right now. So once again, love the guest that we have on tonight. Listen, we always say that, but I'm saying we've been doing really well with that lately. So
yeah,
look, Weapons Hot. Let's get it. I'm ready.
We always have good guests, man. That's why. Oh, we always say.
Love it.
Introducing the next member of our
God, that intro gets me pumped.
Telling you.
What's going on? Well, our new Jets beat writer just retweeted me.
Really?
Yeah, so I commented. Somebody said, "Hey, this is your best tweet." He put out something. This Daniel _. I'm just gonna say Bienemy because I don't know how to say that last name.
Bienemy.
So he tweeted this Photoshop. He's like, if I was the owner, and then it had Deshaun in photoshopped in Jets green and black. And I was like, somebody said, "This is your best tweet ever." And I replied to him and I said, "One of 2 or 3 New York Jets tweets from you thus far, isn't it?" I go, as the new Jets beat writer and us headed into free agency, we would think you would do a little more than Miami Heat retweets.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
So he quote tweeted that.
Really? He must be feeling the same way.
Oh man, I can't wait to get started tonight. I love our guest. We've had him on before. It's always great talking to him, man.
Love it.
CJ, hit him with that intro.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, not really making his inaugural debut, but
he's a veteran now.
He's now earned his stripes here on the Weapons Hot broadcast, trying to get his music to queue up. And of course, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Harrison, the Fireball Glazer! That's the only way a guest should be brought in, ladies and gentlemen.
I love it, man. I love it. Thank you guys again for having me. I'm excited to be saying that, yes, I will be joining the Weapon Hot podcast Fridays with you guys weekly. Awesome. Very happy to be here. This is great. This is an exciting point right now because we are just days away from free agency, just days. And Monday, really tomorrow, starts the tampering period where it's really kind of free agency anyway, because you hear this guy's going to sign here, this deal's going to happen, and it could fall through, but most likely they're going to wind up happening. So there's a lot of big names on the market, a lot of big names out there. And I'm excited because thanks to Joe Douglas, we have the money to get them. There's like 4 top guys at each position. I see them on the team, tweeted them out earlier. I can't wait to talk about them. There's so much great stuff to get into, but yes, let's do it. Again, thanks for having me, and let's talk them Jets.
Man, I almost knocked my whole setup over here just a minute ago. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Falling back.
Let's go.
That's it.
All right. So where do we start?
Gentlemen, today, of course, free agency. Jimmy just alluded to it. And of course, one of the things that legal tampering period starts tomorrow. There's already a lot of stories coming out, like Taysom Hill just got signed to an extension. There's a couple of other people that got signed to an extension.
Retired.
Aaron Jones actually re-signed with Green Bay. So, there's so Scott Gillespie, shout out to him.
Already. What's up, Scotty?
In the comments, there's a 5th string offensive guard with our name on it. Laugh out loud.
Get him.
Let's get him,
Scott.
Get him.
Bring
him in.
All right. So, legal tampering period. We just talked. We just mentioned that a little bit. We'll go around the room. We're going to start with our guest Harrison. We'll circle around the Jacks, then we'll go over to Reaper. Talk to me. Some of the names the Jets have their. Who are some of the names that you think the Jets should have their eye on?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. And so many people, when they hear about free agency, especially after the presser that Joe gave a little while back, I don't know how some people came out with the impression that he didn't want to spend, that he wasn't going to spend, that he was only going to do cheap signings again. There's so many things I love about Joe Douglas. And again, one of them is that he chooses his words so deliberately. Like when I listen to the pressers, I listened to those clips a couple times. I actually dissected it, went into that a little bit. He said when they asked him about free agency, he has his philosophy of building through the draft, which is how you do it. That's how you're supposed to do it. And that you supplement through free agency. But the last sentence he said was when opportunity meets value, we will be aggressive. And what that translates to is if the guy fills a need and he's the top talent, like that's why some people say they want guys like maybe Juju or Curtis. I'm not in that route right now. I'm not throwing money at a mediocre guy. If I have the money to spend like Joe does, I'm spending on a guy that deserves it. Otherwise, I'm building through the draft. So I'm a draft building guy unless I'm getting the best guy. And this free agency, unless it changes, which I can't believe Shaq Barrett doesn't have a contract yet. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, Tom Brady wants him back. He said he wants to be back. Yes, sir, wants to be on that team. Shaq Barrett has consistently been one of the best edge rushers in the NFL since 2014, since he was undrafted. Everybody missed on him. Nobody took him. Guy went undrafted. He's amazing. And the best example I have, because I looked it up, big fan of his, looked up the numbers. Back in 2016, he only had 1.5 sacks. Yet he had a PFF rating of 84. How many edge rushers that their job is to get to the quarterback? They have 1.5 sacks and that high that high a rating. The next year, for example, 2017, he only has 4 sacks, rating of 82.6. He's consistently been great. That's the point. The numbers didn't always translate, but he's always been amazing. He's easily the best in the league. And he proved it in 2019 when he went from, Denver to the Patriots. I'm thinking of Tom Brady with the Buccaneers. And that translated to actual production where he had almost 20 sacks a season. I mean, nowadays, we haven't had a good edge rusher since John Abraham. Like, just think about that. We haven't had a good edge rusher, an elite edge rusher since John Abraham. Shaq Barrett is the definition of elite. That's why I hear people talking about, he doesn't fit the system. He doesn't fit. He plays more of an outside, 3-4 defensive outside linebacker. My answer is elite is elite. You know, talent is talent. A guy like Barrett, 20 sacks a season, he's getting to the quarterback if you line him up upside down with his hands tied behind his back. It doesn't matter. The guy's getting to the quarterback. So he's a guy you have to go after. The Jets need a wide receiver one. People talking about, you know, spending 12, 14 million, getting a guy like Samuel, who had barely close to 1,000 last season. Juju, who's had some seasons with like 600 yards. Kenny Galladay, like somehow the Lions didn't re-sign him. He's the only wide receiver one hitting the market. He's amazing. People say he's got injury history. Over the last 2 seasons prior, before this one, he had over 2,200 yards, bunch of touchdowns, over 1,000 a season. He only missed 1 game. That's it. This year he had an injury, but if he's ready to go, he's the definition of a wide receiver one and the only one that's out there. So you got Barrett, you go after a guy like Galladay, you can pay them both. Obviously, you go after a guy like Thuney, best offensive lineman on the market, able to get, you know, the highest money, but deserves it because he's never missed a game in 5 years. The guy's consistently been one of the best offensive linemen in the league and hasn't missed a game in 5 years. And then last but not least, honestly, is I want to go after a guy like Richard Sherman. Everyone knows that. Been tweeting him a lot. We need his mentorship. We need his leadership. All 4 of these guys are some of the best free agents available. And we can pay them. We can sign them. And in that, you think we get an elite edge rusher. We get a wide receiver one, the only one that we really need, the best lineman available, easy plug and play offensive guard, and a cornerback that on his worst days is a cornerback too, still great in zone coverage. Last year he was hurt, but when he's not hurt, he can keep up with anybody. Man, that's a great free agency, and we can do it all. And there's so many other guys, like even less, like a Kella Witherspoon, Cameron Sutton. There's so many, a million guys you can go through, but Joe can pay them, and he plans on paying them by saying opportunity meets value, will be aggressive. So I think he has the money. He's going to spend that money, but he's not spending it on a middle of the ground guy. He's spending it on the best guy available. So that's my take.
Yeah. All right, Kevin, fire off. Go for it.
Look, you know what? That is probably the best intro that we can have to this conversation, because the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of names, there are a lot of guys. And I mean, we're not talking about, and to an extent, we're not really talking about jump off the page, oh my God, not this guy kind of names. But we're talking about guys that really are producing or have produced. You know what? When you talk about Barrett, that's like a wet dream for me almost, you know, per se, just because, you know, last week you saw my little screen name was pass rush, please, right? Because we need a pass rush. It affects so many things with regard to our defense, especially when we're lacking the way that we are in our defensive backfield slightly. So that is an impactful position, in a position of perpetual need for us. Is that's kind of a logical term to use? It's perpetual need for us. So if we can get a guy like that, that changes, I think, the entire mindset about how it is that we run the defense. And as of right now, our defense is probably going to be much closer to being it than our offense is going to be. So the expectation is that we're going to need our defense to step up and keep us in the game until we can work it out, you know, exactly to what it's going to be on offense. So look, there are going to be some names that I think, to Harrison's point, there are going to be some names that we're going to end up signing that most folks really haven't thought about, or they haven't been talking about them, because those guys don't necessarily follow as much or as deeply as we do when it comes to this stuff. So the expectation is you're going to see some names. Jet Twitter might actually have some sour grapes or some responses that may not fit what the expectations that we're going to have for these guys. Okay. We saw what Robert Saleh did with less in San Francisco over the course of this past season, especially when they were decimated by the injury bug, and they had guys that came in and really just, I mean, they played their roles well, and San Francisco ended up being a high-ranked team when it comes to how they performed on defense. My expectation is that we'll have that similar thing here. So I'm really excited. I've been kind of kicking around what it is that we're going to do on offense a little bit, because I think the offensive line is first and foremost the thing that we need to address. I don't necessarily believe that offensive line is going to be the first signing, though. And let me just say, I believe that we're going to end up maybe having some more in-depth contract negotiations with those guys, because those guys are going to be the ones that are going to have the most intricate type of contract situations. Joe Thuney, who I can imagine has to be, if not 1A, and I, with regards to the offensive additions, I still think that, you know, the guy Lindsey, I think he should probably be a priority, just for me. Okay, that's just where I stand on that, right? Because it allows us flexibility on the offensive line that I don't think that, maybe we're just recognizing, because we say Thuney, he's that big shiny object, he's the low hanging fruit, so to speak, when we talk about who it is that we want to add. Lindsley functionally, I think, is a more inline scheme fit for what it is that we want to do, because even if we don't sign Thuney, that allows us to kick McGovern the guard. We can kind of work at the other guard position, and that pushes depth to the outside, and then we still have that center in place that who hopefully comes in and plays at a Pro Bowl caliber level. So we have some questions, but literally the closer that we get to this, the more some of this stuff starts to solidify for us. I'm really excited. I've been seeing and please just excuse me, and I know we're probably going to talk about this, but I'm starting to see that Juju is one of our main targets, right? I'm a little skeptical about that in particular, just because I think that there are some questions, and I'm really trying to wonder, how different is he from Crowder, right? In what it is that he does, and I prefer to have a guy that we know for a fact is a leader, that we know for a fact is solid, and that we know for a fact isn't going to melt down in social media or do some random nonsense that is probably going to end up having everybody look at him with the side eye and wonder why we signed him. So, I'm not a Juju fan. I was when he was in college with Sam, to be honest with you. I thought the talent was there. He also, let's just put it this way, he also went to my high school in California, so I gotta give him a little juice there. Long Beach Polytechnic. Let's not hate on that. Check us out on Wiki. Long Beach Poly, we're deep. Anyways, but yeah, the fact of the matter is that this is the last show we're going to be talking about stuff that ain't going to happen. We're going to be talking about stuff that actually is realistic right now. And I can't even tell you, I'm chomping at the bit right now. I'm chomping at the bit. Let's get it. Jim, where you at? What are you thinking?
So let me. I got a couple things that Harrison, Kev, I love you guys. I got a couple things that I disagree with you on, and let me start off with the back end of this first. Now, I've kind of always been on the fence with Juju, right? The fact of the matter is, and it's purely based on timing. The fact of the matter is I think Juju's been playing in the slot a lot lately. And we just have to face facts. He's a younger, better Jamison Crowder. Objectively, he's one of the top slot guys in the NFL. Now, let's put this in perspective here, okay? When Juju first came in, he was a top player on the outside for the USC Trojans.
Yeah, man.
Top player on the outside.
He
gets there. He gets to Pittsburgh, and who does he have saying, "I'm the number one receiver here"?
AB.
I'm the guy. AB. So Juju says, "Hey, man, you've earned your bones." It's like, "Where you guys need me?" And they're like, "Well, we kind of need you in the slot." It's like, "All right, cool. I'll play the slot." So a lot of the TikTok hype and the nonsense that's been going on, I think there's a lot more to Juju that's kind of underneath the surface.
I hope so.
Now, like as CJ is famous for saying, and I back him up 100% on this, you don't replace talent, you add talent, and I completely agree. I don't think, if we're looking for an outside wide receiver, I think Juju could fill that role, and I think he could actually be a number one receiver when given the opportunity. He's been overshadowed, guys. He's been overshadowed every year in his career by somebody. Mostly by names, mostly by an AB. But he could do it. He could do it. It's a risk, yes. Does he have a bad attitude? On the surface, you could say yeah, but I would just point you guys to Jalen Ramsey in Jacksonville, where everybody was like, Jalen Ramsey is a lost cause.
Yeah.
Like you don't want that cancer on your team. Yeah. Name one thing, one peep that Jalen Ramsey has done in LA. Nothing. You can't point. Model citizen, does the charity work, does everything a solid locker room guy would do. So I think a lot of the times you got to give the benefit of the doubt to the player. Sometimes they just need to change the scenery. We all know that there's something going on in Pittsburgh, man. There has been for a while. There's something going on. You don't have top elite level guys that want out of there as much as the Pittsburgh Steelers have.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So there's something going on. So I'm not saying sign Juju. You guys know me. I am a Corey Davis fan. Corey Davis is not a bargain bin option for the New York Jets. He plays 75% of his snaps at wideout, not slot. But he's versatile, just like Juju. Juju's versatile. He can go inside or outside. But Corey Davis has all of his positive stats have trended up every single year he's been in the NFL. All of his negative stats, like drops and things of that nature, have trended down every single year. So I love Corey Davis coming out of Tennessee. I think he could be great with a brand new quarterback. Yes, guys, I said it. Brand new quarterback. It's going to happen. Just deal with it. So, but I got to disagree on the Juju. The other thing I got to disagree with, and I'll be a little bit quicker on this one, so I apologize for kind of being long-winded here. Shaq Barrett, love him. That guy can get to the quarterback with the best of them. I'm not going to say that he's not a scheme fit, though he is an outside linebacker rather than defensive end, which is the 4-3, 4-2-5 hybrid that we're going with. On the surface, you could say he's not necessarily a scheme fit, but any guy that can get to the quarterback like Shaq Barrett is a guy that can get to the quarterback in any system. You can't really put that kind of a label on him. The issue that I have with Shaq Barrett, aside from the cost, which I don't mind paying an edge rusher, like Harrison said, we haven't had one since Abraham, but the issue I have is a lot of the stuff that he's been coming out with, and whether it's for PR purposes or whatever, he has said that he wants to stay in Tampa Bay. He has said that he wants to be down there. So that concerns me. I just get a real Trumaine Johnson vibe from something like that. You know what I mean?
He wants to stay with Tom. He wants to stay with Tim Terrific.
Fair. I hate Tom Brady, and Tom Brady's entire career is built on a lie and a bad call.
Hey, Tim. It's Tim. Can we get that straight, please?
Tim Brody. Sorry, Tim Brody.
Tim Brody.
I can't say his name.
Look, I just think there are better.
I just want to know if he's still hanging out in Davy Johnson's locker.
Right.
That's what I want to know.
Or is he drunk at Disneyland?
I don't care where Tom Brady is, but speaking of Tim Brody, stop tweeting Tim Brody in New York Jets jerseys photoshopped. That's got to stop.
I must have a block or a filter because I've never seen that. I hope to never see that ever.
Oh, please. It's awful. Anyway, my point is for edge rusher, I think there's better options. I love Romeo Okwara coming out of Detroit. Good kid, young. He had 9 sacks last year in Detroit, and he was the premier edge rusher. So I really like that. No real injury history to be concerned about, no real off the field issues to be concerned about. So I just think there are better options that are going to be more cost effective for the New York Jets, because I think the focus will be there may not be the first signing be the offensive line, but just because an offensive lineman isn't the first signing or the first draft pick or the early draft picks doesn't mean it's not a priority.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean that it isn't a valued position. So I think I agree with you, Kevin. I think we're going to look somewhere else maybe first, but it doesn't mean that.
I just before we toss this to CJ, I think that there's going to be easier signings for us to make, right? Before the offensive lineman. So I expect there to be at least a big name when it comes to that. I already explained where I lean when it comes to that, but either one of those guys would be, something to celebrate. I'd have to crack open a cold one for one of those, to be honest. What I also just kind of wanted to say is that this is really where we get an idea about what Joe Douglas's legitimate idea about where it is that we're going and what it is that his vision is kind of comes to fruition. We've been talking about what we think makes sense or all of these things. We have never seen really what it looks like to build that sustainable, winning. We haven't seen that done here. If Joe Douglas is going to be the guy that brings it, these first few signings, these first few days, weeks, that this is really going to solidify where it is that he believes that we need to be going.
All right. Yep. Now I want to take this up, and we'll take this home as we get into the commercial break. A lot of interesting stuff going in the comments and stuff. There's so many to read. Shout out to Bill Robinson, Matthias Simon, Scott Cleesby, Lowell Lichmore, Denberg, Florencio Rodriguez, John Suggs, just everybody who was out there, John Farris, Bill Robinson. I'm trying to see if I missed anybody.
Speaking of John Suggs, John, remind me in the chat. I will get to your point about Sewell at 2. I will get to your point about that.
Are we going to talk about that really? Okay.
I will definitely talk about that.
Oh God, here we go.
Because I'm about to change your mind, my friend.
I was going to say, please don't talk about that.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Please don't talk about that.
You want Sewell at 2? I will definitely change his mind.
No.
All right, so I want to make sure I got to everybody in the chats over there. Everybody who's watching, everybody who is Rockaway Archie is also watching as well. I know he's in and out.
What's up, Arch?
Hasn't really done much commenting, so he needs to get himself up in there. Maybe drag Steinman Baccarella out of his slumber. So, but look, in free agency, I'm sure that Joe Douglas has got a short list. We could all sit here and debate who we want, who we'd like to see. For pass rusher, I really would like to see them go after Matty Judon. He's somebody that I think that would be able to come in here and really have an impact on this defense and really give us that pass rush that we need. But the question is, it's going to be money. Now, another thing too, a lot of people have been talking about Ryan Lindley, Joe Tooney. We were just talking about this on Weapons Hot After Dark last Friday. Be sure to go to YouTube and check out that video with our good friend from Live Rounds, Mr. Matt McCucci. There's a number of different directions in which the Jets can go. I want to see them address offensive line in free agency and also the draft as well. I want to see them address pass rusher in the draft because we need to have pass rusher being addressed in the draft. Okay, but not only that, but we also need to see it, addressed in other ways as well too, because it's not just the pass rushing position that the Jets have holds. Jets have holds at cornerback. They have it at linebacker, and look, we saw this in what was it, Todd Bowles' first year, all right, where Mike McCagnon had over $100+ million, and you saw a team that was in the process of being rebuilt, and the aggressive rebuild through free agency doesn't always work. Okay, so I think that the Johnsons and company have already learned their lesson. And sure, it's okay to go out there and say, I want the Jets to go get this guy. I want the Jets to go get that guy. I want the Jets to go get the other guy, et cetera. But I really think that Joe Douglas is going to go out there, and he has a short list of guys who he has on this list. Whether Matty Judon is on that list, whether it's a Yannick Ngakoue, maybe it's a Jadeveon Clowney. Gotta hope not. Please, but we also have Richard Sherman out there. There's Jason Verrett. There's a lot of other cornerbacks out there that could definitely come in, be a veteran presence, and help these rookies develop a little bit quicker. All right. As far as wide receiver is concerned, I expect him to address at least one. And again, cutting Crowder and taking that $10 million and giving it to Juju doesn't solve your problem. It basically is a lateral move. You're replacing one body with another. I'm with you. Can we bring in people to assist Jamison Crowder? Can we add people to Jamison Crowder and Denzel Mims on this team? Okay, why is it that we need to cut one guy who was our most productive player to go and replace him with somebody else, only to hope that they have the production where they came from here with the New York Jets in this offense that we're going to be running? Okay, why not already understand what we have in Jamison Crowder, okay, and then bring in another person to add to that production, okay? And this seems to be the biggest problem that people can't seem to wrap their heads around. It's like, okay, yeah, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid of that guy. Let's go get this guy and let's go get that guy. But here's the thing. You have to replace the guys you get rid of, okay? We can't just get rid of people and then just think everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows, because it's not, because you have to replace the people that you get rid of. So, again, that's why you keep Crowder, continue building the wide receiving core, and I don't understand why you can't go out and get a Kenny Golladay, okay, or go out and get a Juju Smith-Schuster although Schuster is exactly what Crowder is, which is a slot receiver.
Well,
But I'm
he's
sure
on the outside though.
Yeah, to Jim's point, he is a younger version also. So I mean, we're talking about extending. How many more years are we talking about paying Crowder the type of money that we're paying him now?
Maybe one.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So look, there's some points to be made in that regard, but I think the outside stuff is really where Juju kind of has the issue. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but there's a possibility where I think, and Harrison, I'll let you make your point in a second, and then afterwards we're going to go to a commercial break.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes a change of scenery is good for another player. We saw it in the early stages with Santonio Holmes. Okay, then when we were at Santonio, then we saw exactly after the AFC Championship games back to back. Then all of a sudden it seemed like that Santonio Holmes just completely lost his head and turned into this friggin' loon case. Okay, but if you take Juju and you bring him over here into a situation with Robert Saleh, I can guarantee you that Saleh is going to have a conversation with the kid and say, "Look, you're a New York Jet now. This is not, this is not acceptable. We expect you to do this. We expect you to do that. And if you're going to be a part of this team, then you need to follow along." So any player who's going to be coming to the New York Jets via free agency are going to understand that this is not Todd Bowles in the locker room. This is not, Adam Gase in the locker room. This is not Rex Ryan in the locker room who lets you run around and do whatever the hell you want. This is a team that's trying to regain its relevancy and clear away all of the mud and all of the crap that's been dumped on it over the past decade because of how badly we've sucked. And we're in the process of turning a franchise around. And you're either going to be 100% out of that, you're either going to be 100% all in, or you're going to get out, or this ain't the place for you. So that's what I expect. And that's what I think that Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh are going to be looking for in free agency. They're looking for those high character guys and so on. Harrison, make your point, and then we're going to shoot on over to commercial break.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you, man. And I think that's exactly the way, again, he said in his presser what he meant. He said that when opportunity meets value, he's going to be not only aggressive, but he's going to go after the better players. You mentioned like guys like Juju. You said Crowder a second ago. I don't get why people want to cut Crowder. I mean, Crowder is 28 years old. He's not young, but he's not old. He's got a couple of good years left.
The money shouldn't matter.
It doesn't make sense because a guy like Curtis Samuel will cost $12 million in free agency. A guy like Juju will cost 12, 14, 16. These guys are going to cost more than Jamison Crowder. And like you said, CJ, Jamison Crowder has consistently been, not even with us, with the Washington team, one of the best slot receivers ever since he's been in the NFL. His whole career, he's been one of the best. Guys like Juju, specifically Curtis Samuel, had a good season last season. But what about before that? What about 2019, 2018? No. That was his first big year. He's going to get overpaid, which again, guys you mentioned, guys like Lindsley, he had a phenomenal all-pro season last season. He's 29. He's not young. He's got a couple of good years left, but that was his first all-pro season. Before that, he had PFFs of 65, 62, multiple sacks a season. That was his first really good year. So the way I look at it, what Joe Douglas is going to do is, like you said, with Saleh, if I'm going to pay a guy, I'm going to pay a guy. I'm not going to pay 12, 14 to a wide receiver too, because look at Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims on his worst day is a wide receiver too. So why are we paying big money to get another one of those? Because Mims on his worst day is one of those. So if I'm paying money to somebody, I'm getting a Galladay. And I've heard people say things like Galladay, doesn't fit the scheme. He doesn't make sense because he's like Mims. It's the same thing like with Barrett. He's a true wide receiver one, the only wide receiver one available. Wide receiver ones make the contested catches, make the tough plays, fight for every yard. They get everything regardless of the scheme they're in. There's no scheme fit for a wide receiver one. There wouldn't be a scheme fit for Allen Robinson. You plug him in, he plays fantastic. Kenny Galladay is a wide receiver one. So I'm happy paying him. You mentioned with Barrett before. I think he wants to stay in Tampa Bay because he's not stupid. I mean, I hate to say it as a Jet fan, it causes my stomach to turn, but Tom Brady's won 7 I get sick when I say it. Tom Brady's won 7 Super Bowls. So
Damn.
he wants to
3
stay
of them
there.
are a lie.
I know. He wants to stay there and he wants to get the glory. So he wants to stay. But I think if he hits free agency, which I'd be shocked to happen. I couldn't believe Levante David was available and then David was gone in a day because I was like, he's not going anywhere. He's been a Buck his whole life. So I figured the same thing with Barrett. I'd be shocked if he hits, but if he hits, we have the money. I mean, it's amazing. We have to look at it this way. Joe Douglas, so many reasons to love him, but just 2 years ago, we had a GM that spent $250 million in one free agency alone on guys that didn't deserve the money. Guys like Henry Anderson, he got 7 sacks a season. That was his first time doing it. So he deserves $25 million. That makes a lot of sense. Or Tremaine Johnson, Darryl Roberts. We paid Tremaine Johnson his big contract right about when the Patriots played Stephon Gilmore his. And you know what? Ours was a little bit more. That says it all. That's insanity. Stephon Gilmore is one of the best there is. Tremaine Johnson couldn't beat Gilmore if on his best day. It's insanity. So, but from 2 years, we've gone from that $250 million, one free agency alone. We have $82 million. We could pay Barrett if he hits free agency. We could pay Galladay, get a true wide receiver 1, a guy where him and Mims, especially Crowder, they're probably putting up 3,000 yards just between the 3 of them. Like, that's amazing. And then, going after Thuney, obviously shoring up that offensive line. He's the best one available. Even Sherman. Sherman's not going to make a lot of money. He's older. He's followed Saleh everywhere. People think, he wants to stay on the West Coast. He's followed Saleh on the West Coast. He followed him through all of his teams. Why wouldn't he come here? He can keep his place in California, rent a place here for a year. I definitely think he's going to come, and he's not going to be expensive. Sherman's going to be like 7, 8, maybe a little like 9, 10 million a year, all guaranteed. It's not going to be crazy. And we could pay all of these guys. So again, you shore up that. You got the best elite players at all 4 of those positions. Then you build through the draft. That makes it whoever's at quarterback, it doesn't matter. There's going to be success almost instantaneously by making those moves.
Great points. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a short commercial break. When we come back, Mr. Kevin Jackson is going to take us in the spotlight. I'm very curious to see who he's got in the White Hot spotlight this week on Weapons Hot. Plus, we get to talk a little bit more about some strength and conditioning and the New York Jets making a huge major move in that direction, which we are going to finally give some credence to. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be right back. You are watching and listening to Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan podcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, and Snowman Digital Media.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Weapons Hot, a New York Jets podcast on the Sports War Radio Network, is brought to you by StatementGames.com. Want to take your fantasy game to the next level? Then make your statement. Weapons Hot has weekly tournaments during the NFL regular season that you, the fans, can join in on to win some really cool swag. Go to StatementGames.com and create an account today. It costs you nada. Zippo, absolutely nothing. Just like that, you're ready to join in on any one of dozens of tournaments going on at all major sports. So are you ready to make your statement? If so, go to StatementGames.com. Again, that's StatementGames.com.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no 2 investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value, market market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors, LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC, annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network, LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor, and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Seituha Karate. Located at 28 Cold Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com, or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
What's going on, Jet fans? Welcome back to Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, and Snowman Digital Media. CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here, and you guys there on the other side of the glass. We've got Kevin Spotty Blackman Jackson joining me, along with Jimmy the Reaper Jardine, our special guest this evening, Mr. Harrison the Fireball Glazer, ladies and gentlemen. And we are talking nothing but free agency today, and we've actually going to switch gears as Mr. Kevin Jackson is going to take us in the spotlight.
In the spotlight with
Kevin Jackson.
Spotlight.
Mr. Jackson, who do we have in tonight's white hot spotlight, my brother?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, maybe a little bit of a curveball. In the white hot spotlight tonight, you maybe have never heard this name before. Mike Nicolini. Yeah? Check me out. The Get Back Coach Scout dude. That's me for right now, because I've been scouting get back coaches. Mike Nicolini is our new strength and conditioning coordinator, and we're gonna get to that in just a moment. But I wanted to kind of impress upon all of us really what this means to our team. Okay, and I'll say this in terms of our head coach requires a get back coach. We know what that means. Coming from the coaching staff that we've had, coming from the zombies and the knuckleheads and the morons that we've had occupying that position, we've got a guy who's so fiery, who's so engrossed in the game, who is so amped and ready to go, who is so excited that he requires a get-back coach. Feel me? There are penalties involved in being, at a certain distance or away from the bench. We have a guy whose main responsibility, now, I don't want to downplay his responsibilities for strength and conditioning, but his main game day responsibility was to be attached to Robert Saleh at the hip and make sure that this man actually doesn't step over the bounds. And that in itself is an exciting proposition. I think all of us as Jets fans should actually be really excited about, but we should be encouraged by. You feel me? Because what it is that we're looking at now is just when we're talking about changing of the culture, we're talking about changes in the front office and all of those things. We're actually talking about a game day mindset, something that I don't think any one of us has seen, even a remote inkling of any kind of game day mindset, other than looking at the Taco Bell menu and trying to figure out what the hell's going on as they're sitting back on the bench all by themselves. Or yeah, is it a Denny's menu?
It was a Denny's menu.
Yeah, okay, excuse me.
Pretty basic.
Taco Bell actually has stuff, right?
on the other half of the Denny's menu over there, he just had a giant picture of Frank Gore.
Yeah, look,
100% he did.
That was the one you get the little crayon and you draw the maze or something like that, right? That's what we're talking about.
Those menus when I was a kid.
Look,
still up for them as an adult.
So did I. But this is kind of the thing. Nicolini, 30 years old, 31 years old. He's going to be coming to us after having been 3 years assistant strength and conditioning coach with the 49ers. Prior to the 49ers, he spent 2011 to 17 at San Jose State's University as the lead athletic performance coach, 2015 to 17, and as an assistant athletic performance coach, 13 and 14, and as a graduate assistant in that same department from 2011 up until 13. But check this out, because this is one thing that I kind of liked about this guy. Before going to San Jose State, Nicolini played defensive back at the University of Redlands in California, 2007 to 2010. 36 games he played in.
That's why you like him.
Come on now. This is another reason why I had to throw him in the spotlight, because as a defensive back, Jim, don't say nothing. As a defensive back, there's a lot of ego that goes into that. You got
100%.
You got to feel me on that. Anyways,
put me on an island.
200.
The diamond standard.
By myself. I'm there. 224 tackles.
Maybe not now.
Look, my back pedal is still kind of ferocious. Don't test me. I'll be trying to tell the kids at the park that. Anyway,
some hips, baby.
31 passes defended, 10 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, and 2 forced four fumble recoveries, and 2 forced fumbles. As a senior, 2010, he was named Southern California Intercollegiate Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Year. So we're bringing the guy with a championship mindset into a position where it might be lower down the rung in particular, but we want to have our water boys with the championship mindset. You feel me? We want to have Bobby Boucher level, I'm getting ready to smack you in the mouth, kind of mindset for every single position on this team. And I think that when we got a guy in this position with the pedigree that he has, with the relationship that he has to the head coach, with just the responsibility that he had with when he was with the 49ers and how that translates into what it is that he does here. Guys, the reason why Mike Nicolini is in the spotlight this weekend, if I could actually say it, is because this is what it is that we as Jets fans have been hoping for when it comes to attitude, when it comes to a change of culture, when it comes to what it is that we can expect from the guy who runs the show on Sundays. And in all of the meeting rooms and through all the coaching, decisions and all of this thing, this is what it is that we have. We have a coach who requires a get back coach. And from what it is that I've seen just in looking at get back coaches, we got the best one. What do you guys think? Where we at?
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. And it's exciting. Like you said, I mean, I tweeted it out just the other day. The NFL Network pointed it out. I put the video up. They were joking, showing him on the sideline back when he first got into San Francisco, saying, that's his job. All those images we saw, everybody tweeting out about who's going to be Robert Saleh's get back guy. Yeah. That hand that we were seeing, just the hand, right. The hand that was grabbing him. That was him. That was Nicolini. That's what he was doing. Yeah. So I bet he's good at his job. I bet he's good at strength and conditioning. But like you said, it's funny and it's on the surface, but when you think into it, that's what he requires. And we haven't had that kind of energy, that kind of fire since Rex Ryan. And, say what you want about Rex Ryan. People didn't like, the way he kind of handled media press conferences. I thought it was hilarious. I loved every minute. Some people didn't like it. I know. But when he was there, the defense was always great and they had a winning pedigree. But more importantly, the players would run through a wall for him. If you wanted to turn a locker room against Rex Ryan, there's no shot. There's no chance you're doing that. They'd laugh you right out of the building. That's not happening. Yeah. Robert Saleh, that fire, that energy, the passion, that it's like, I think I said it the other day, I don't know if it was on your guys' podcast or another time. It's literally like they did a complete 180. They went for the anti-Gase, like the opposite in every way. Anything you could think about. Gase was an introvert, kept to himself. Saleh's as outrovert as they come. He expresses his feelings all the time, lets it known, fires the guys up. It's the opposite. And I'm excited about it because I loved the Rex days. I mean, people say, what they want. It was fun. It was exciting. It's the last time when I remember football being fun again, when it was great. It were those Rex Ryan years. I mean, we didn't wind up winning, but that fire, that energy, that passion. I'm excited. I think it's great. I think the culture change started when Joe Douglas got in the building. That was the beginning of that change. And Robert Saleh's the lock and key. He finishes the combination of the culture change, which is just key, because I talked about it another time before. We were at a point in our past, you know, the LOL Jets narrative, everyone just making fun of us, like, this is us, this is that, it's never going to change, laughing like, oh, they want this, they want that. So much so that we had a guy like Anthony Barr, I'm not know if it's a curse, but Anthony freaking Barr, who would literally, like, doesn't even hide it. Like, he's like, by the way, so literally leverages the Jets for a contract. We're at the point where guys like Richard Sherman, when Watson was available, Sherman was the first one to say, you want to go join Saleh, go join that culture, go join that community. That's why I think there's no chance Sherman doesn't come. It attracts a guy like Barrett, a guy like Galladay, and Joe's going to hit through the draft. And I'm just excited about it. I can't wait for what we're going to build. I'm confident that I think our quarterback next year is going to be either Deshaun Watson, because they pulled something amazing out. Some people say Russell Wilson's back in the equation. I don't know if it's true, but I'll take it. I'll take it every day and then some. Otherwise, Zach Wilson. So as long as it's one of the two Wilsons or the Watson, I'm good. That's what I want. Like, I'm set. I have great expectations, and I'm ready.
Expectations are dangerous as a Jets fan.
Ain't it the truth, brother? Ain't it the truth? Every year.
I refuse to not have them.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Not have them.
We live on the edge. What do you think, Jim?
Dude, like, we have a whole new department now. Get this, guys. Yeah. Get this. Like, Nicolini, 100%. I will back this man. Think about this, though. The New York Jets have started an entirely new department.
Segue.
A whole new department, guys. And think about this. Dr. Brad DeWeese, Director of High Performance, hired by the Jets. Nicolini running strength and conditioning. Dr. Matt Sams, Director of Sports Science. Dr. Robert Sossman, Director of High Performance. Dr. Omar Ahmad, Assistant Strength and Conditioning Coach. Doctors. These are people that understand that Mekhi Becton has a different training requirement than Bryce Hall.
Thank you.
Instead of having a blanket training program for everyone on the team, these are gentlemen that have gone to school for 12 years to understand their particular specialties. And we have 4 of them.
Yeah, man.
4 of them.
Yeah, man.
28 people on season-ending IR in 2019. 30 plus at one point or another in 2020 on IR. We have 4 doctors now that understand this stuff. We have a whole new department that understands this stuff. Look at our coaching staff, bro. Let me tell you, if I'm going to get in a bar fight, I'm going to the bar with Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas and Jeff Olbrich.
Douglas was a lineman. He ain't playing, man.
Right?
He's packing it.
Ron Middleton, our tight ends coach.
Wow.
Marquand Manuel, our defensive backs and safeties coach. I'm going to the bar and getting into a bar fight. Jake Moreland, our assistant offensive line coach. These guys look like they never leave the gym. That intensity that these guys are bringing in, unprecedented, man.
I can't impress upon anybody enough how the idea of this being not just strength and conditioning, but diet, but the stretching, all of these different things, how that, man, change of the guard is coming.
Dr. DeWeese, he has a program to keep all of that strength and conditioning department, the whole new department, on the same page.
Yeah.
Instead of having a nutrition group and a weightlifting group and
it's all one
cardio group, it's consolidated, man. Yeah. I'm
so glad, man. If I may say, I'm so glad you brought that up because it bothered me so much. You guys want to check it out. I wrote an article back last season about the medical staff, totally calling out this bogus medical staff for what happened during the year. I mean, First of all, they hit on Sam Darnold. The fact that that wasn't a penalty or a late fine, that's insanity. Absolute insanity. But Sam Darnold had a separated AC joint. They said sprained AC joint. But Rich Cimini literally wrote an article on it, and he's not a doctor. I mean, I looked it up myself. I actually did extensive research into this because him and Becton really pissed me off. He had a sprained AC joint. That's a fancy way of saying a separated shoulder. His shoulder was literally separated, and they called him day-to-day. A guy with a separated shoulder, the shoulder's not on, he's day-to-day. We'll play it by ear. And then Becton, he had a shoulder tear. I talked to doctors. I have doctors in my family, thankfully. I was curious. They're huge Jet fans, what they thought. Based on that injury, and I did my own research myself, he had such a high probability of a tear, and even if it wasn't torn, trying to play through it inevitably always leads to a tear because it's a rip within the cartilage in the shoulder itself. It always leads to a tear if you try to keep going. And what happened with Becton? We saw it throughout the season. He's out a couple of weeks. They push him back. He gets hurt in the game. He's out more weeks. They push him back. He's hurt again. He needed to be shut down. He literally had a shoulder problem where I, again, called it out. We're saying if it's not separated, it's going to get separated. If they continue to play him, that shoulder's gone. And we saw it throughout the season. I'm excited for bringing in new medical people because I couldn't believe what was going on last year between Sam and Becton. That was borderline criminal.
Yeah, I think.
I gotta give a shout out. Jeff Stenberg in the chat. Jets fans getting excited about hiring doctors tells you all you need to know about the football team. Look, man, the majority of our IR issues were soft tissue injuries, strains, sprains, pulls, contusion, muscle contusions. They weren't ligament tears. They weren't, there were a few. Obviously, I'm not saying there weren't. But I've been saying this since 2018 is why are so many people like 2019 CJ Mosley, a groin pull, and then the coach that I almost said his name again, like I did before the show.
The catch.
But he puts him back in the game like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
These soft tissue injuries, no excuse. You have to have a staff that knows how to rehab those and get them completed and fixed before they get back on the field.
Yeah.
We didn't have that. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
We do now. So yes. I am excited about a new medical staff, just like Harrison said, just like Kevin said, man. This is an exciting time. Those 30-plus injuries, watch it be 15 this year.
Amen.
If hopefully. Look, I know we spent a few minutes on this, CJ, and I'll toss this to you in just a second, but I know we spent a few minutes on this last season when they put Becton back in the game knowing that he was injured. I mean, you recognize they knew. They knew he was hurt, and they put him back in, or they let him go back in anyway. And that just goes to show the mindset change. If that isn't the biggest determining factor with any upward trajectory that we're expected to see, I'm ready for it, man. I'm just so thankful that the entire staff, other than Brent Boyer, has turned over. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with that.
That tells you what you need to know about Brant Boyer too. Is like that was one of the only survivors of the purge.
Yep. I've got a man crush.
Multiple.
On Brant Boyer. I got a man crush on Brent Boyer.
Yeah, multiple. That man's made it through 3 head coach changes.
Exactly. And
there's a reason he's still around.
One of the best coaches on staff the entire time. Period.
Brant Boyer
not everyone to go. I was a little upset. I kind of really liked Sean Jefferson, and I also really liked Hines Ward in the wide receiver.
Yeah, Hines Ward.
Because Jefferson specifically. We saw that last year. Remember, we talked about that fire, that energy. I posted it. I tweeted it out. That catch, I forgot. I think it was Jaleel Scott. He was a no-name receiver, makes the catch. Jefferson loses his mind. He's going crazy. He's excited for him. He's cheering him on, patting him on the back. People forget Jefferson's been around for so long. He's one of the reasons Calvin Johnson was great. I did a lot of research on him last year because I was looking at who I wanted to be the interim head coach, and I picked him. Because Calvin Johnson credits him specifically for one of the reasons he was such a great receiver. And everywhere he's been, he's touched really, there's been good wide receivers. So I was a little sad to see him go, specifically Hines Ward as well. But man, Boyer survived 3 head coaching changes, and that's exciting.
And there's a reason.
Sean's getting the jacket too. He's about to get that gold jacket coming up here soon too. Yeah, that's what's good. What do you think, CJ? Where we at?
All right. I got to go through some of these comments in here because I'm just sitting here and I'm just shaking my head. Lowell is just naming doctor after doctor. We got Dr. Oz, we got Dr. Seuss, Dr. Octopus, Dr. Doolittle, Doc from Back in the Future, Dr. Dre, Dr. Doom, Scott Gillespie chiming in. Anybody with a pulse is the anti-gays, but he still thinks Sam will be here after the draft. John Suggs chiming in, not going to change. Eagles have a slew of doctors and every year injuries. Well, their doctors suck, but you know, our doctors probably sucked worse than them. That's why we need a whole new staff. Thomas Gutman chimed in, our guys need to stretch every freaking day. Starting yesterday, if another Jet pulls a hammy, he should be cut.
Fair.
Jeff Stenberg chiming in. Jimmy keeps down in them Red Bulls. He's going to need a doctor for diabetes. Lowell Litchmore like 3 times in the comments. Players play through injuries all the time.
Stay focused.
Stones, baby. I'm dropping them stones.
Stay focused.
Right, I got the ice tonight.
So Scott Gillespie back in. I repeat, Sam will still be on this team if they haven't traded him already. He'll be here. They'll ask themselves who is better, Sam or Wilson, and JD won't sell the future for Watson. Matthias Simon chimed in with Dr. Frankenstein. Scott Gillespie chimed in with Dr. Feelgood. I actually chimed in with Dr. Love because I figured, hey, I may as well throw my hat in the ring with this. Matthias Simon over here. Maybe the doctor could sew Penny.
I think the best one I saw was Doogie Howser.
Ooh.
Yeah.
MD.
So Jeff Stenberg chimes in again. The Jets need a psychologist more than they need a regular doctor. Well, you know, go talk to Alex Lewis about that.
Nah.
It seems like the last 2 or 3 years, a hangnail has kept some of our players off the field. Matthias Simon with horse doctors. Jeff Stenberg back again.
Yeah.
They need a priest more than they need doctors. John Suggs, Keystone is just as worse as Gase. Laugh out loud. Yeah, look, fellas. All right.
Quantity over quality, John. Quantity over quality.
Yeah. If I may, man, if I may just jump in quick, if that's okay. I noticed a lot of the comments were about Sam Darnold. And I think people have been realizing, I mentioned it before Schaefer. I love how Schaefer jumped in. I was saying that Sam Darnold could potentially net a late first-round pick because of the value other teams are going to look at. Because I made the arguments throughout the year, too. I personally look at with the draft right now, we were going to take Lawrence because it didn't matter what Sam was. He was too great a prospect to pass on. I've been saying for a while, hey, thank you. I've been saying for a while, the same logic applies to Zach Wilson. Same logic. So Sam Darnold, everyone feels he could be great. You know, a lot of people say with talent around him, a better system, sitting and learning. There's teams out there. Dre's just retired. You mentioned it. New Orleans could be in the conversation. Steelers maybe sitting behind Ben a year or two. Falcons, but my favorite one, interestingly enough, we talk about when Woody Johnson came back. And I got to say, since Woody came back, man, he's been spitting fire. That's been just fire after fire on his Twitter page. It's been amazing. Just old school highlights and old school videos. It's been beautiful. But he said specifically, and people have said it as well, he wants to make a splash since he came back. People have been saying that. I think the biggest splash they could do, you Zach Wilson with the 2nd overall pick. Now you take Sam Darnold, which is worth a late first, and you take the 23rd and you trade it to a team like the Panthers to move up to 8. And you take a guy like, I don't think Jamar Chase will be there. Thank you. Yeah. I don't think Chase will be there. I take him, if not Kyle Pitts or Patrick Surtain. But either way, you walk away with an elite guy. You walk away with an elite cornerback from the draft, an elite wide receiver in Chase, an elite tight end in Pitts. One of them's going to be there. And I'd love to see that happen. That's what I'm hoping for. Some kind of package right there to move up.
Well, it could very well be. I mean, again, you know, the draft is still, you know, almost 2 months away. I mean, we haven't even gotten a free agency yet, and everybody's, you know, kind of worried about this whole thing. I know that everybody's got the angst about Sam Darnold, and look, there are at least 5 teams that are going to come calling. Now, to some people, the Sam Darnold apologists out there, and yeah, I'm looking at all of you. Okay, I was one of you at one time. I no longer am because Sam Darnold is not the guy here for New York. Okay, and I swallowed a lot of crap during last season because of it. And it's not because I decided I didn't want to swallow the crap anymore, it's because the kid did not deliver. He didn't. He can't stay healthy, and New York is just not a good fit for him. Okay, so if the Jets can get a high second rounder for him, a late first rounder for him, and trade him to a team whose offensive coordinator thinks that they can fix him, well, hey, then let them take it. Okay, because we here at the New York Jets, we're starting with a blank canvas. Now, I wanted to go back to the injury thing. Okay, sure, everybody wants to make fun of the doctors. Everybody wants to say, why are we highlighting the doctors? Who gives a damn about the doctors? Well, to Jimmy's point, we had almost 35 players on injured reserve last year. And the majority of those players are starters who probably, had they been starting, maybe last year would not have been as much of a disaster as it was. Now, who knows? Okay. Adam Gase was still pushing the buttons. So I'm not giving Gase any type of credit or whatever. 2-14 is still 2-14. I'm glad he's gone. I don't want him here, and that's it. But at this point now, we can't sit here and continue to reflect upon the mistakes of the past. We can't sit here and to reflect upon, well, this is what McCagnon did when he was here. And this is what Idzik did when he was here. And this is what Tannenbaum did when he was here. Okay? We can't, if we do that, then what we are going to do is we are going to rob ourselves of the joy of watching this thing actually being built the right way. Okay? Being built from the ground up, being built out of patience instead of out of quick fixes and putting one nail where there's supposed to be five and hope and a prayer that a windstorm doesn't come along and knock down the house. We need to be patient, and I know that is a word that Jet fans do not want to hear. Patience is not in our vocabulary. We got a lot of PTSD swirling around. But let's face it, we had a lot of guys that were injured last year, whether they were real injuries, whether they were fake injuries or whatever, I can't tell you. But nevertheless, we still had a bunch of guys that were on IR that could have helped this team that didn't. So some has to change with that. And to Lowell Lichmore's point, players play through injuries all the time. I get it. But here's the thing. When you have a medical staff and a training staff that help people to get over those injuries so that way they can get back to 100% so they can actually go and showcase their full talent on the field instead of just 85%. Lowell, which one would you rather have? Would you rather have a guy at 85% or would you rather have a guy at 100%? To me, I want the guy at 100% because that 100% guy is going to punch the next guy in the face. Okay? That 100% guy is going to be the guy who's going to get that interception. Okay, who's going to make that game-saving tackle? Who's going to catch that touchdown that wins us a game? That's all I'm saying. So, y'all want to make your jokes in the comments and stuff? Go right ahead. We're enjoying the heck out of it. But here's the way that I'm looking at it with the training staff. They knew, starting from the CJ Mosley, the CJ Mosley groin pull, which unfortunately started a domino effect throughout the entire organization.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that domino effect has got to stop. Those dominoes, they've all fallen. So Joe Douglas saw that this is the cataclysmic event that started all of this. So now how do we stop this from happening again? Okay, let's get guys in here that are going to make sure that our players are taking care of themselves. They're helping them get better. They're helping them get fixed. So, and you know what, to his comment over here, of course, 100%, but that's not realistic to be 100% throughout the season. Yes and no. You have some guys that, depending on when you go and take a look at themselves, the way that they take care of their bodies, not only at the beginning of the season, but also at the end of the season, this is how they're able to let that talent go. Now, granted, at the end of the season, we all hope that we have guys coming in at 100%. Okay, we can hope, but you know what? At that point, if you have guys that are playing at a high level from start to finish, that's what you want. The biggest problem is that this team has exhausted its defense over the past decade. Their defense has spent an average of 65 to 70% of their time on the field. The offense has been non-existent. And we've lost football games because of that. So all of that has to change. You blame it on talent, you can blame it on coaching, you can blame it on whatever you want. But at the end of the day, there's still a price that has to be paid. So with the free agency, guys that are going to be shipped out the door and guys that are going to be coming in, they're going to be subject to a whole new regime. They're going to be subject to a whole new set of rules. Okay, because if you're going to be a New York Jet means you're going to give 110% and it's all gas, no brake. If not, there's the door. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Because that's the mentality that has to be there. And we as Jet fans, I know it's difficult for us to accept because we've been lied to. We've been told, hey, you know, things are going to get better. The culture is going to get better. We've had this guy promises things. That guy promises things. The other guy promises things. You want to know the one thing that Joe Douglas is not promising? Joe Douglas is not sitting here going out there week after week after week, highlighting his plan about we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other thing. Joe Douglas is saying as little as possible and letting his actions speak for himself. Mm-hmm. And that's something we've never had here. The last time we had somebody actually do that was Bill Parcells. So am I saying that Joe Douglas is Bill Parcells? No. But can I say, but is it possible for us to go back to that? Is it possible for us to go back to those days? Yes, it's very possible. But we got to let these guys do their work. And no matter who we like, who we don't like, what we don't like or whatever, as fans, sit there and enjoy the ride. Because you know what? We're at the bottom of the barrel. We can't get any lower. Okay? The only way to go is up.
We're not the bottom anymore. Houston is. And to your point about, yes, injuries happen, Lowell. Injuries happen. But we now have a staff that understands how the human body works as opposed to previous years. And real talk, when you minimize those just nonsense nagging strains and sprains and pulls, when you know how to prepare for that stuff, you're talking about 10 to 15 starters that are starting more than they did the last 2 years. That's the issue. And that's the benefit.
Yeah. No, I'm with you guys. And that's such a big thing. You know, we were saying it before with injury, it's so important. We saw it last year with guys like, you know, Becton, Mims obviously had his hamstring pulls, you know, here, both of his hamstrings, which happens a lot with rookies. Rookies tend to get hurt, right, but we need them to stay healthy. We need them, you know, to translate that because the NFL is a totally different pace. It's a very active game. It's rare to be 100%. It is. But when it comes down to it, like you said before, with good training, good practice, and just intelligence, just actual intelligence. Because we said it before with Mekhi Becton. When they asked Gase, why'd you put Mekhi Becton in? What did he say? Well, he wanted to go back in the game. Of course he wanted to go back in the game. We saw guys throughout, like back in the 70s and 80s, they'd get blasted, they'd get knocked out, they have a concussion, they don't know which way is up, but they're walking into the huddle. They'll take the snap. If you let them, they'll play until their heads pop off. Their player can't make that decision. What do you mean Becton wanted to go back in? Of course he wanted to go back in. You have to be the adult in the room that says, no, you can't go back in because of these reasons, because he will go back in. That was insanity. Same thing with Sam. And the year before that, you mentioned these problems keep going on. What about Kelechi Osemele? Osemele was one of the best linemen in the league, had such a falling out with the Jets where literally he's suing them for money. We find out it's because he told them that he was hurt and they told him he wasn't. And he's like, wait, but I'm me. And, you know, this body is mine and I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And they're like, that
was a Gase decision, Harrison. That had nothing to do with the Jets medical staff because the Jets medical staff advised Adam Gase to sit him out, and they were already 3 linemen down, and he chose to throw Kelechi Osemele back into the lineup. The same way that he chose to throw Becton back into the lineup. Okay,
he just wants to win. He's saving his job. He doesn't care about our future. He doesn't care about Becton, who was literally drafted to be our staple. He's supposed to be our next to Brickashaw Ferguson. That's why, again, you guys talked about center before. Center is such an important position on the offensive line. I'm a big offensive line guy. Same thing I love about Joe. You mentioned it before, going about the edge rushers. He knows it's all about offensive line and defensive line. That football is won and lost in the trenches always, with the guys fighting tooth and nail that don't get nearly enough credit they deserve. And when I talk about defensive line, I mean edge rushers. So edge rushers, defensive linemen, but on that offensive line, Becton, he drafted him to be that staple. And that's why I talked to you about before about Lindsey. I'm a little hesitant on him. We have to get our next Nick Mangold. We need to draft our next amazing center that's going to lead us. And I pointed this out the other day. I've been high on Creed Humphrey a while, like forever. Check my tweets. Love the kid. Love Creed Humphrey. I've been saying, when people tell me I'm nuts, I've been saying he's a first-round pick. We'll be lucky if we get him at 23. And people are like, what are you nuts? He'll be there at 34. I'm like, trust me. His pro day was amazing. But if you look at the way he plays, specifically like Nick Mangold, and I pointed this out the other day, how many times did Nick Mangold point to something off the offensive line where Mark Sanchez's eyes immediately follow that finger, where Mangold points out who's blitzing or what the defense is doing, or audibles the play, tells him to switch something, tells another offensive lineman that you missed an assignment or that you need to change to this guy? That center is more than just a blocker. He's a quarterback. He's the second quarterback on that offense. And Humphrey does that. You've watched him, guys like I'm blanking on his name for some. Kyler Murray have given him tons of credit for doing that in the past. You watch him pointing, everywhere. He's what you need. You need a leader. You need someone with the intelligence and the foresight to play that position. So that's what pissed me off with Becton. I mean, you're throwing Becton out into the fire. That's supposed to be our guy. This is the guy we're building around. And you're going to keep playing him so that shoulder rips because you only care about your job? I mean, thank God he's gone. So, I'm not as upset as I was at the time, but I was livid. And I looked at all the facts, like what happened with Sam, with, the separated AC joint, these day-to-day. Like it just doesn't make sense. And it's crazy.
Putting him back in the game, I thought, was an offense that required him being fired.
I'm with you.
Well, that's the point.
I mean, all the other stuff was there, but that right there, when you're talking about jeopardizing the livelihood of the players on the team who are under your charge, nah, man.
So, all right, guys, we are going to head out for another commercial break here. When we get back, we're going to finish up tonight's episode. Also, we got some news for you in regards to the Weapons Hot broadcast. So invite you guys to stay tuned. So we will catch you guys right after this. You are watching, listening, whatever, to Weapons Hot and New York Jets.
All of it.
Here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, and Snowman Digital Media.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm going to keep ticking. But no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
What's going on, Jet fans? Welcome back to Weapons Hot, a New York Jets fan broadcast here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports War Radio, and Snowman Digital Media. CJ the Painkiller D. Simone here. I'm joined by Mr. Kevin Spotty Blackman Jackson, Jimmy the Reaper Jardine, our special guest, Harrison Fireball Glazer. So we're going to finish up tonight's show. Our last segment ran a little bit long, so we're going to preempt this one a little bit. So one of the things that I wanted to let you guys know is that Weapons Hot is actually going to be moving. No, we are still going to be a part of the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. However, we are going to be moving to a new date. Our new day is going to be Friday nights at 7 p.m. from 7 p.m. to 8:30. We were going to be on before the Wise Guys. The Wise Guys are going to be from 8:30 to 9:30. And then there's another show that's coming on from 10 o'clock on from the West Coast. So we are super excited for the move. This is definitely going to improve the quality of life around all of us here. We're super excited for the opportunity to kind of breathe some life into the Friday night slot, the Friday night spot. So we wanted to give you guys a heads up. That's actually going to be starting March 19th, which is this upcoming Friday. So be sure to go, circle it on your calendar. Weapons Hot's going to be debuting on Friday nights, and that's going to be our forever home for right now. So definitely invite you guys to go and check out our latest episode of Weapons Hot After Dark, where we had Matt McCucci on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to go and download the app, the Worldwide Sports Radio Network app. That's the best way to consume Weapons Hot. So just those points I wanted to get out really quick. Shout out to everybody who is blowing up the chats over here. I think this is probably the first show where I've never seen the chats as active as it actually is. So a lot of you guys throwing shade at different things that we've brought up here on the show, which is fine. And that's great because, we're trying to spark that conversation. We're trying to spark some brain cells and some neurons firing. So that way we get some people out there. And of course, we also have our, eternal realists, also known as doom and gloom and half, glasses 3/4 of the way empty people out there. So shout out to you guys as well. So Really quick, we're going to go around the room. Final thoughts. Jax, we'll start it off with you. Then we'll go to Jimmy. Then we'll finish it up with Fireball.
All right. Final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. The next time you tune in to a Weapons Hot broadcast, we'll actually have some real stuff to discuss. And I don't mean in terms of content, because I think we do a great job here. I'm really thankful that the guys that are in the chat continue to follow us, continue to rock with us. Tell your boys, tell your friends, everybody that you know, come back in and kick it with us. But I'm actually talking about real transactions, real about to be on the field stuff. And I'm so encouraged. I'm so excited. I said earlier to Harrison that expectations are dangerous for Jets fans. But there's no way I think any of us could go into this season knowing and seeing the changes that have already been made and not have at least an expectation that we're going to be a better football team. As a fan base, we're going to need to turn the corner. I start to see a lot of negativity. I start to see a lot of same old Jets and this question and that question, and we haven't drafted well, and we've only got one or two guys, blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff is going to be proven to be false here very shortly. And I just want you to know, buckle up, get your popcorn, chairs in the upright position, because we get ready to take off. Let's get it.
All right, Jimmy, you're up.
I'm excited for the move. A lot of positive information coming out. The move to Friday was a sign for me because I have a job opportunity that I can't really pass up, and it gives me Thursday, Friday, Saturdays off. And I just found out about this right after CJ talked to us about potentially moving to Friday. So it was, a sign from above, if that's how you view it. And I said that it's got to happen. And I'm totally stoked about being with you guys on Friday nights. I love the new schedule that we have coming up. Weapons Hot is going to stay being real. One thing I did want to bring up, I got my boy Lino Cortina in the chat. Previous guest on Weapons Hot. We love Lino out here. But I just wanted to double down on what I said on Friday. Lino did call me a hater in the Facebook chats.
Yes, he did.
Lino's a beast, though. Lino's a beast.
Real talk. I was like, hey, I got no hate. It's just the numbers, baby. Because I'm the numbers guy, right? So yeah, I mean, you gotta think that I'm gonna have the analytics behind what I say. And right now, somebody else said, who knew that the weapon on Weapons Hot would be the Keystone Ice? And click clack, click clack. But hey, that Bud Light.
Lime goes in, right?
Lino, I'm not a hater, man. I'm just telling you like it is. Hey, guys, for my final thoughts.
Friday night, we're doing shots on the air. I don't want to know.
Dude,
all right?
I'm down. Let's get it. Let's get it, man.
That's it. We're doing shots on the air. I call it right now. That's it.
Because guess who's getting their stimmy on Wednesday?
Ooh,
this guy.
Get the dough. Get the dough.
Get it. Listen, you can go and get yourself a all gas, no break T-shirt from Gotham City Crew.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I mean, the powers that be are trying to tell me that if I do what I'm told, then I'm gonna be able to spend 4th of July with my family. But I say to hell with that, and I'm gonna go out and take that stimmy. I'm gonna get a nice bottle, and I'm gonna enjoy it with you guys. So
here we go.
In that note,
Jeff, thank you for the congratulations on the new job. I appreciate that, man. But my final thoughts, guys, please keep supporting this channel, this show. We work really hard to bring you. I have, and I'm not even singling myself out as an outlier. All of us on this panel right here, Harrison, CJ, Kevin, we all put hundreds of hours into everything we talk about. And it goes so much deeper than being just a fan. Or I saw a comment on another post, CJ, you were way more diplomatic than I would have been with calling us wannabes. And I'm telling you, man, I had to stop myself from commenting on that one. I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, look, I say this week after week. We bring you a show as fans, by the fans, for the fans. Okay? You're not going to get any fluff here. You're not going to get any hidden agendas here. You're not going to get people pulling punches or the Jets PR department telling us what articles to write, telling us what to tweet, telling us what to say. We're going to go ahead. We're going to give it to you straight up the way that we see it. And this is from reading different articles, from listening to different podcasts, from listening to different sports radio shows. And it's like, look, I'm smart enough to kind of make my own decision, but I would rather make a decision being informed. Okay? I'm not going to go and read Rich Stamini's article and then all of a sudden I'm going to bash it without looking to see if the guy actually has a clue or not.
Bingo.
Okay?
Because our credibility means absolutely, it means miles more to us than the credibility of a Samini or a Schefter. Schefter can say, hey, I got this information, it turned out to be wrong, whatever. But if we put out something, anybody on here, Harrison included, CJ, Kevin, if we put out something that we heard and it's wrong, everybody just hammers down. And it's like, see, you don't know what you're talking about. So we have to be ever more vigilant than any of the big name guys. And I just want to thank you all in the chat for hanging out with us and listening to what we have to say. Please support Weapons Hot. Give us a sub on the YouTube channel. You're going to see much more content when I'm not going to get in trouble for dropping an F-bomb. I'm sorry about that earlier, guys. Like I said, Tim Brody just gives me, he just gives me panic attacks, and I just don't like it.
Thank you.
But also, you can see, I put videos up on Weapons Hot. You can also find me at Jets by Jimmy. Anywhere on social media. You can also sub to my YouTube channel. Just search Jets by Jimmy, you'll find me. And I do appreciate all the support, guys. So Weapons Hot approaching 100 subscribers on YouTube, as am I. We're neck and neck, man. Let's get both of these channels to over 100.
Quality content in both platforms. So thanks again, guys. Really.
Yes.
All right.
And just to wrap up mine, excuse me. Credibility is important. We're not clout chasing. All right, let's just separate those things. This is not clout chasing here. We're not doing and saying things because we want people to come and follow. If you come and you follow us, it's because you know you're going to get the real here. You're not going to get nonsense. You're not going to get conspiracy theories. You're going to get actual factual stuff. You will get opinion, but if you don't, that's part of what this is all about. If you don't agree with the opinion, then this is where we discuss.
A lot of it is objective. It's not even subjective. It's not subjective opinion. Exactly. And talking about earlier, I said that I would get into it. Just Sewell it too is a bad idea, plain and simple, period. That's objective. That's not subjective. So you're going to get a lot of the opinion, but our opinion is based on facts.
Yeah.
So.
Can we agree never to discuss that again? Thank you.
Please. Thank you.
All right. Fireball. Take it away, brother. Final thoughts.
I'm ready, buddy. I'm ready. Now, CJ, I love how you mentioned it. Love how you brought up, saying it how it is, not having an agenda, not having, say it a certain way, because if I don't, my credentials might get revoked or something. So that's why I hope you guys have, if you check out my page, again, at my own company, Take Flight Media, at my site, I write articles as it is. My opinion, my perspective, flat out from me, not, spun by anything or influenced by anything. You're getting exactly what I'm thinking and the facts. So check it out again, takeflightmedia.org. You guys mentioned a YouTube podcast. I'm actually excited. I started my own. I'm now doing my own podcast. Yeah, baby. Channel. I'm doing my own Just Jets podcast. So just Chalk and Jets, bringing up lots of awesome topics. Like so far I've done my QB eval because I mentioned to you guys, I'm a really, really big eval guy. I do a lot of in-depth analysis, and I don't look at what everyone else did. Like I said, you see it all the time with people, saying the same thing, repeating the same 5 or 10 facts. I don't care what other people are saying. And that's why if you watch my first podcast, it's very unique. It's an interesting perspective. I give very in-depth inval of why I love Wilson so much, why you can't pass on him, and the reasons I was never really a Fields fan. So check that out. Other stuff as well. The other cool thing, it's live on YouTube. So you can comment and I interact. Like you can ask questions. Like half the show is just, ask me something, bring up something you want to talk about, I talk about. So that's it. I call that podcast the Take Flight Spittin' Fire Podcast. And I got to thank CJ with the nickname with the fireball. That just led to it, baby, because I'm going to be spitting fire on that podcast. Thank you, my man. Appreciate it. So, yeah, so the Take Flight Spittin' Fire Podcast.
I seriously just found it. I just found it.
I appreciate it, bro.
Right now.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. It's on YouTube as well, starting to get pretty big. But again, just me saying it how it is. Saying, you know, and I do a lot of in-depth analysis. There's a lot of guys I like and don't like. And people always ask, you know, well, you've been saying that you love Wilson since October. And all the things that everyone's saying now are the things I've been saying for a while. And I've always never been on Justin Fields, even when everyone else was. So again, I give my perspective. And one thing I promise you, it's unique. It's something you're not going to hear anywhere else. But again, you guys mentioned free agency coming up. The Jets have the money. They have the money to spend. And the way I look at it, like Joe Douglas said, we build through the draft. This is a team we're going to build. And so far we have. Look at the positions Douglas took. It's not hard to see. I mean, if you can see it, you're better than all of our previous other Jets GMs. But they couldn't see that the positions we lack in are the positions that aren't drafted high. Before we took Becton, the last offensive linemen's high were DeBrickashaw, Ferguson, and Nick Mangold. And we all know how that panned out. Staples on the offensive line. We talked about no edge rusher in a while. We haven't taken a first-round edge rusher in like 20 years since Abraham, except for Goulson. And we all know how Goulson panned out. But that's one. Cornerback, wide receiver, those are all positions lacking. And what did Douglas do? He took a lineman first, one of my guys, Becton, who I loved. He got Mims, who I didn't even think would be there, first-round potential. Hits across the board. Love it. He's going to keep building through the draft, and I think in free agency, he's going to spend. You're going to see him dole out the dollars to Thuney. You're going to see him dole out the dollars to Galladay. You're going to see him dole them out to Barrett if Barrett's there. Because, again, elite is elite. The top position, you pay for that every time, and I think that's what it's going to be. So I think it's exciting. There's a lot of other options the Jets can go, but the point is they have those options. So it's going to be exciting, and next time we talk, that stuff will have gone down. So again, I appreciate all you guys. Again, check me out on Twitter. My handle is @NYJetsTF Media, because the company's Take Flight Media. Again, I mentioned I wrote articles. I do a podcast. Appreciate all of you. It's all in the bio. And also other big news. These guys have told you, I'm actually going to be joining you guys as a regular. So I'm stoked about that. Super excited. Or is that not true?
No, that's real. No, that's real. Look, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
I was looking at the eyes. I was watching the eyes.
No, because look, as a fan of yours in particular, you know, I've been following you on Twitter for quite some time now. If you really want the real stuff, I mean, we're just adding again quality content to what it is that we already do here, and this is a big deal for all of us. So thank you, really.
Oh, no problem, man. It's awesome. Yeah, like I said, I'll be with you guys next Friday, and it's exciting. So I'm glad to be part of this, part of the Weapons Hot. Let's do it.
Heck yeah! All right.
I put your channel in the chat as well, Harrison.
Nice, man. I appreciate you. Much appreciated.
All right. So, my final thoughts are going to be this: it's free agency can't get here fast enough. We just enough with the speculation, enough with the garbage, enough with the false rumors, enough with the false stories. Let's just go ahead and get this over with, you know. And the only thing that I'm going to put out there is this: I caution Jet fans all over the world to not be disappointed and temper your expectations for free agency. Just because we're going to have about $80 to $90 million to play with doesn't necessarily mean that Joe Douglas is going to blow his wads on the first guys that come along. He's going to be very strategic. He'll probably be strategically aggressive on guys that he wants. And then don't be surprised if there are names that are out there that, you know, may end up getting signed by other teams. And everybody's like, well, why didn't the Jets go after this guy? Or why didn't the Jets go after that guy? And so on and so forth. And this, that, and the third. Just be happy with the guys that we got, because Joe Douglas has, as I keep saying this, he's probably got that short list in his desk. He's ready to go. He's got the war room already. He's already been on the phone with some people, according to some reports. Okay. Look, let's just let the chips fall where they may. And then after that, I'm actually looking forward to Friday's show, because then we're actually going to have legitimate news to talk about.
Like real stuff.
Instead of sitting here and having to like think of different creative things for us to be able to add content to this, instead of speculation and what ifs and this, that, and the third. We'll actually have some tangible stuff to talk about the New York Jets future going forward. So with
Yeah,
that,
Kevin, that was the greatest point, like in the last 3 months.
I'm saying
that you were like, hey, this is the last show before we get real info.
Exactly.
Real
100%, brother.
How many times we talking about silly season, man? Silly season over. Thank you.
So I'm super excited for Harrison to be joining us as our special guest correspondent. He's going to be in and out from weeks. Definitely going to be looking forward to his insight. Come the NFL draft. Looking to get Krista Levitas back on to come and join us. We got some other.
Oh, is she?
Krista, come through. Come through.
So we've got a list of people who we are trying to get on to create some quality content. Plus, on top of it, don't forget the added vehicle for Weapons Hot After Dark. Which airs exclusively on YouTube. So we're super excited about that. That's also going to be a Friday night vehicle. Again, keep your eyes out on social media for times and so on. So with that, we're going to end tonight's Weapons Hot broadcast here. We'd like to thank everyone who's been in the chats, everyone who's commented, everyone who is watching and listening to us and sharing us and so on and so forth. We love you guys so much. So you can follow the show on Twitter at CNC Jets Factor. You can follow me at JetsFan0523. My partners in crime, Mr. Kevin Jackson at Spotty Blackman, Mr. Jimmy the Reaper Jardine at Jets by Jimmy, and also Harrison. Please give out your Twitter information so fans of Weapons Hot can follow you.
Without a doubt. So again, you'll find me on Twitter at NYJets, TF Media. You can find my podcast at Jets TFSF for, again, Take Flight, Spit and Fire. So at Jets TFSF podcast. Check it out. Again, that's my podcast and my Twitter. Look forward to you guys following. I look forward to being here.
So to Frank and Gaglia, he was asking, when is Weapons Hot After Dark tonight? Unfortunately, Frankie, it's not going to be tonight. We just got finished with the show this past Friday. So probably in another week or two, we're going to be putting out stuff for another Weapons Hot After Dark. So, again, shoot us a message. We'll be able to give you all the info. Go to the YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit the notifications button, so that way, whenever we go live, you're going to get a ding. When that ding happens, you turn it up. Same thing with the Weapons Hot show here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. That's why go and download the app. Google Play, it's simple. Okay.
Free.
So, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a dime. Okay. So also don't forget to go check out one of our sponsors of the show, statementgame.com. Shout out to Mark Salino and company over there. We love you guys. www.statementgames.com. Go and make your statement. Let me tell you, awesome site. You guys will not be disappointed.
Good content there too, yeah.
Again, don't forget
we should do it. Oh, sorry, CJ. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was just reading a comment and talking about our next After Dark, and I was like, we're moving to Fridays. Maybe we should do an After Dark this upcoming Friday just to get us on the timeline.
Look,
you know what I mean?
That's a 2 week. That's a 2 week time frame, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it would be the very next week. Since we're doing it this Friday, we would be doing a back-to-back Friday. But I think if we're moving times, I think we should get on that timeline. You know what I mean? So I'd be down to do a Weapons Hot After Dark. I mean, I'll tell you what, guys. If we break 90 subs on the Weapons Hot YouTube channel,
we got to do it then.
Yeah, we'll do it. Get us to 90. You get us to 90. We'll do an after. We'll do an After Dark show on Friday.
Get us to 100. Get us to 100, and I'll bring strippers, like I said the first week.
You greedy bastard.
I want to see that. Get us to a speed up.
Look, let's go. Let's go.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, for Harrison Fireball Glazer, Mr. Jimmy the Reaper Jardine, and Mr. Kevin Spotty Blackman Jackson. Ladies, make sure you write that down in your little black books. This is CJ, the Painkiller D. Simone, signing off for tonight. We will see you guys when we see you guys. Peace, love, go Jets. And I'm going to leave you guys, which still, in my opinion, is the best chant in the National Football League.
Yes.
So, don't forget, Friday night, 7 o'clock. Okay? In case you guys have a calendar, March 19th, circle it. All right. 7 p.m. Weapons Hot will be live, and that's going to be our new home from now on. Don't forget to go. Make sure that you subscribe. Again, download the app. Go to worldwidesportsradio.com. Go to the Facebook page. Go to our Facebook page. Go to YouTube channel. Do everything you got to do. Every time Weapons Hot goes live, you guys will find us. We love you guys. Thanks again. Have a great night. Be safe. Take care. Free agency.
Let's get it.
St. Patrick's Day. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.